Hello and welcome and namaste from New Delhi. You're watching DD India. I'm Gautam Roy. This is Express News, the show where we get you the day's top 100 developments from the nation and the world in under 30 minutes. Here goes. A group of probationers from the 77RR 2024 batch of the Indian Police Service called on President Draupadi Murmu at the Rashtrapati Bhavan on Monday. Addressing the IPS probationers, the President said that Indian Police has made immense contribution in preserving and strengthening the unity of the country. On the second day of his visit to Seychelles, India's Vice President C.P. Radhakrishnan met with President Patrick Amini and Vice President Sebastian Pillay and reiterated the deep-rooted, long-standing and friendly relations between India and Seychelles. V.P. Radhakrishnan also met Vice President-elect of Seychelles, Sebastian Pillay. Both the leaders discussed the multifaceted India-Seychelles relationship. India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri addressed the media on Vice President C.P. Radhakrishnan's visit to Seychelles. In his address, he shared details about the VP's visit to the nation on the occasion of the swearing-in of its newly elected president. India's Home Minister Amit Shah today inaugurated the India Maritime Week 2025 in Mumbai on Monday, officially kicking off a 5-day event dedicated to advancing India's maritime capabilities and promoting sustainable growth in the blue economy sector. In his inaugural address, Amit Shah underscored the government's focus on modernizing and reforming India's maritime infrastructure. The minister also handed over 2 deep-sea fishing vessels to the Fisheries Cooperative Societies of Maharashtra, reaffirming the centre's focus on strengthening the cooperative sector to uplift the fishing community. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh attended the annual meet of Society of India Defence Manufacturers in the national capital. Addressing the gathering, the Defence Minister highlighted that in the past 10 years, India's domestic defence production has increased to a record 1.5 lakh crore Indian rupees. The 27th of October marks the 79th Infantry Day, honouring the Queen of Battle, the most crucial fighting arm of the Indian Army. Chief of Army Staff General Upendra Dwivedi laid a wreath at the War Memorial in New Delhi on Infantry Day. United Arab Emirates Land Forces CDI Major General Yusuf Mayoof Saeed Al-Halami was also accorded Guard of Honour in New Delhi on Monday. The visiting dignitary also laid a wreath at the National War Memorial. India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal will begin his 2-day Brussels visit from Monday, during which he will hold high-level discussions with Executive Vice President and European Commissioner for Trade of the European Union, Maroš Šefčovič. A delegation of the European Parliament Trade Committee is also visiting New Delhi from Monday to enhance mutual understanding amid intensive trade negotiations between the EU and India. Direct flights between India and China have officially resumed after a hiatus of over 5 years. Indigo's A320 aircraft from Kolkata landed in southern Chinese city of Guangzhou on Monday. Indigo will undertake daily non-stop flights between the 2 locations. As part of Vigilance Awareness Week 2025 from the 27th of October to the 2nd of November, Union Minister for Health and Family Welfare J.P. Nadda on Monday administered the Integrity Pledge to officials and staff of the ministry. President Draupadi Murmu paid floral tributes to former President of India K.R. Narayanan on his birth anniversary on Monday. In a post on social media, Prime Minister Narendra Modi called upon citizens on Monday to participate in the Run for Unity on the 31st of October and honour Sardar Patel's vision for a united India on his birth anniversary. On the 27th of October, we also remember the birth anniversary of great freedom fighter Jatan Das, born in North Calcutta's Ganadendra Mitra Lane. Indian equity indices ended on a strong note with Nifty at 25,950 points on Monday. At close, Nifty 50 was up 170 points at 25,966. The BSE Sensex also gained around 566 points and closed at 84,778 on Monday. The Indian rupee ended lower at 88.24 at USD on Monday. Gold futures maturing on the 5th of December was priced at 121,981 rupees per 10 grams on the multi-commodity exchange. Silver futures for the 5th of December maturity stood at 145,590 rupees per kg on the MCX. Brent crude oil was priced at 65.23 USD per barrel on Monday. South Korea's benchmark Kospi index surged past the 4,000 mark on Monday for the first time, fueled by optimism over a potential US-China trade deal. Investors reacted positively to progress in recent negotiations in Malaysia. Japan's Nikkei index topped 50,000 for the first time on Monday, boosted by easing US-China tensions and expectations of a Federal Reserve rate cut. The benchmark jumped 1.6% to 50,080.49 in early trading. Australia's Competition and Consumer Commission accused Microsoft of misleading customers into paying for its AI assistant Copilot. The federal court suit targets Microsoft Australia and its parent company over alleged false claims of 2.7 million subscribers. GSK's London-listed shares fell nearly 2% after the US FDA approved only one of the two treatment combinations for its blood cancer drug, Blenrep, limiting its US returns. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is in Kuala Lumpur to represent Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the 20th East Asia Summit. Dr. Jaishankar held a meeting with Malaysia's Foreign Minister Muhammad Haji Hassan on Monday. Both the leaders discussed the progress in bilateral cooperation and exchanged views on the Myanmar situation. Dr. Jaishankar also met US Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Monday in Kuala Lumpur amid ongoing trade negotiations. The Indian minister appreciated the discussion on the bilateral ties as well as regional and global issues. The External Affairs Minister also met Prime Minister of New Zealand Christopher Luxon on the sidelines of the ASEAN 2025. He welcomed his commitment to advance India and New Zealand's bilateral cooperation and nurturing a free and open Indo-Pacific. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney met Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim in Kuala Lumpur on Monday. The United States and China have agreed on a range of contentious points as part of a trade deal ahead of a key meeting between leaders Donald Trump and Xi Jinping later this week. After 2 days of talks in Malaysia wrapped up on Sunday, a Chinese official said the two sides reached a preliminary consensus on topics including export controls, fentanyl and shipping levies. US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said Trump's threat of 100% tariffs on Chinese goods is effectively off the table. And on the sidelines of the ASEAN summit in Kuala Lumpur, Trump himself predicted a good deal with China, saying he expected additional leader-level follow-up meetings in China and the US. Brazil President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva said he had a positive meeting on Sunday with Donald Trump on the sidelines of the ASEAN summit, and their respective teams will start immediately to discuss tariffs and other matters. After attending the ASEAN summit, US President Trump arrived in Japan on Monday for a 3-day visit. He was greeted by Japan's Emperor Naruhito and is scheduled to meet Japanese Prime Minister Takeichi Sanai. A group of Red Corps officials met with members of the Hamas in Khan Yunis on Sunday to discuss how to locate the missing dead bodies of Israeli hostages believed to be in Rafah. The Israeli government spokesperson said that Israel has withdrawn its forces within Gaza to the Yellow Line but remains in control of more than half the territory, and it approves every UN and aid convoy going through its borders. As part of the ceasefire agreement, the Hamas has said it will return all the hostages it abducted, but the remains of 13 are still in the enclave. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told ministers on Sunday that Israel would decide for itself where and when to strike its foes and which countries would be allowed to send troops to police the truce. Donald Trump said on Monday the announcement by his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin of a nuclear-powered cruise missile test was not appropriate. Russia's defense ministry claimed that it had downed 193 Ukrainian drones overnight. which killed at least one person and injured 5 others. Argentinian President Javier Milei's party cruised to victory in midterm legislative elections as voters overwhelmingly backed his free market reforms and deep austerity measures. Donald Trump congratulated Milei on Monday, and the Trump administration offered a bailout potentially worth $40 billion. An MH-60R Seahawk helicopter and an FA-18F Super Hornet fighter jet of the US Navy assigned to the USS Nimitz crashed during the routine operations in the South China Sea, with all 5 crew members safely recovered by search and rescue teams. We're taking a quick break in Express News, but there's still more to come. Stay tuned to DD India. Welcome back. You're watching Express News and I'm Gautam Roy, and let's carry on with what's left of Express News. Andhra Pradesh faces a severe weather threat as a deep depression over the Bay of Bengal strengthens into Cyclone Monta, the season's first major storm. The Indian Met Department has issued a red and orange alert for 23 districts. Authorities in Andhra Pradesh are preparing for Cyclone Monta. Coastal residents and fishermen have been urged to stay indoors, while disaster management teams remain on high alert for emergencies. Cyclone Monta over the Bay of Bengal is moving northwest and is likely to intensify into a severe cyclonic storm by the morning of Tuesday. It may hit the Andhra Pradesh coast with winds up to 90 to 100 kilometers per hour. 8 districts of southern Odisha are under red alert as Cyclone Monta approaches. At least 128 ODRAF, NDRF and fire service teams have been deployed. Fishing is banned from the 27th to the 31st of October, and tourists have been advised to stay away from the sea. People at Fateh Sagar Lake in Udaipur enjoyed light rainfall as the IMD issued an orange alert for 6 districts and a yellow alert for 17 districts across Udaipur and Kota divisions, warning of heavy rain and thunderstorms. Hurricane Melissa, now a Category 5 storm, is moving through the Caribbean with winds up to 160 miles an hour, bringing severe flooding and destructive gusts to Jamaica, the US National Hurricane Center reported on Monday. Melissa has already caused at least 4 deaths in Haiti and the Dominican Republic, with heavy rains triggering landslides. Winds reached 145 miles per hour and up to 40 inches of rain is expected across affected regions. Civil defense teams rescued a dog from floodwaters in Santo Domingo as Tropical Storm Melissa battered the Dominican Republic. The storm caused at least 1 death and left another person missing. Algeria has launched a massive reforestation drive aiming to plant 1 million trees in a single day to fight climate change. The effort follows fires that destroyed nearly 140,000 hectares of vegetation in northern Algeria between 2021 and 2023. The Taal volcano in the Philippines has 2 phreatomagnetic eruptions, sending plumes of ash, rock and steam 1,200 to 2,100 meters above this crater. Chhath Puja is being celebrated with traditional fervor across Bihar, Jharkhand, eastern Uttar Pradesh and Delhi as devotees offer prayers to the setting and rising sun. From Patna's Ganga Ghats to Delhi's Yamuna banks, devotees perform rituals, fasting and praying for family well-being. Chhath Puja spirit transcends borders, with Indian communities abroad joining in prayers to the setting and rising sun, celebrating devotion, purity and a timeless bond with nature. Nepal's tourism sector is seeing a strong rebound this autumn. Pokhara reported over 90% occupancy, while the Annapurna Trail welcomed a record 30,000 trekkers last month. The Nepal Tourism Board said both international arrivals and domestic stays are rising, boosted by travel operators and 3 major autumn festivals. Around 2,000 people flocked to Australia's Berry Springs near Darwin for a mango festival celebrating the Northern Territory's fruit. Visitors enjoyed music, local produce and a lively mango eating competition. The festival highlights an industry generating over $120 million for the Northern Territory, producing more than half of Australia's mangoes. Locals embrace the season with games, jams and mango-themed treats. Mexico City's main avenue came alive on Sunday night as hundreds dressed as La Catrina to mark the start of Day of the Dead festivities. The parade is part of wider celebrations honoring deceased loved ones, blending indigenous ancestor worship and Spanish colonial traditions. Day of the Dead is observed on the 2nd of November across Mexico. Halloween came early for 19 rescued brown bears at the bear sanctuary Pristina in Kosovo as workers carved pumpkins and scattered chestnuts through the forest for a seasonal feast. Visitors watched the bears hunt for pumpkins stuffed with apples and carrots, part of an activity meant to boost their natural instincts. The 16-hectare refuge run by Four Paws and Kosovo's government houses bears rescued from captivity in Kosovo and Albania. Racquet lovers from around the world gathered in the Swiss village of Morzines for the 2nd edition of the Racquet World Championships, featuring more than 150 varieties of cheese from 13 countries. Judges quietly assessed the cheeses before a super jury of experts made the final call. Cheesemaker Bernard Muir-Revaux said the contest promotes traditional cheesemaking and celebrates the best raclette. People in the Polish coastal city of Sopot gathered around a bonfire to relive Ziadi, the ancient Slavic ritual honoring ancestors that predates modern Halloween and All Saints' Day. Participants carried torches and wore traditional masks as they invoked the spirit of the departed. The Ziadi ceremony, rooted in gratitude and remembrance, symbolizes warmth and guidance for ancestors returning to the living. Entertainment now, and veteran Indian actor Satish Shah passed away at the age of 74 at his residence on Saturday. A graduate of FTII, he rose to fame with sitcoms Ye Jo Hai Zindagi and Sarabhai vs. Sarabhai. Actor R. Madhavan has shared the first look teaser of his upcoming biopic GDN, in which he plays inventor Gopalaswamy Duraiswamy Naidu, aka Edison of India. The cast and crew of the SpongeBob movie Search for SquarePants walked the red carpet at the world premiere during the AFI Fest in Los Angeles.